Moving on to Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Julian Assange and WikiLeaks were in the news today. I'm going to get to that story, which is involved with Roger Stone. But I think there's something else interesting that has happened with Julian Assange recently. I didn't see it in many places. And by the way, you don't have to. Some progressives don't like WikiLeaks. Some progressives love WikiLeaks. You know, I'm pro WikiLeaks. I don't love everything, especially its communication with some Trump people. But overall, I think they've done a lot more good than bad. So, headline: Obama administration to blame for WikiLeaks releases, Assange says. This was from the other day. Julian Assange on Friday credited the Obama administration for putting him in place to publish sensitive documents through his WikiLeaks website, including Democratic emails released during the 2016 presidential race. Mr. Assange made the remarks on Twitter in response to a tweet last month by former Attorney General Eric Holder. The former U.S. Attorney General in office when the Justice Department initiated its investigation of WikiLeaks following publications of classified U.S. diplomatic cables and military documents in 2010. As we know, Hillary Clinton said, "Let's kill him. Let's kill Assange," and later said, "I was joking, of course." Quote, Russian threat to our upcoming This is from Assange. Oh, no, excuse me. This is from Holder. Eric Holder said, quote, Russian threat to our upcoming elections. Do something. Do anything. Impose sanctions overwhelmingly approved by even this dysfunctional Congress. Are you simply unfit without the necessary nerve, or do they have something on you? We were attacked, Mr. Holder tweeted February 20th. So Assange responded, attacked? By what? The truth? Attacked by what? The truth? And then he went on to say, it's entirely your fault, Eric. Thanks to your unconstitutional grand jury against WikiLeaks, you left me with nothing to do but 24/7. Nothing to do but work 24/7 in harsh conditions for years. And I'm good, very good at my job. So basically, WikiLeaks is saying, since the United States government has essentially, let's not make any mistake, the charges against Assange, he was charged, I believe, with sexual assault. The charges against him were dropped. I believe May of 2017, so almost a year ago, the charges were dropped by Sweden. So the only real reason that he's still in that Ecuador embassy is because if he leaves, I think there's a warrant out for his arrest for not being at a bail hearing, I believe. But if he steps out of that embassy, he's going to be arrested, and then he's probably going to be extradited to the U.S. because Eric Holder and the United States government under Obama, and I guess Trump too, have been working to keep him locked up, to keep him in that embassy, to basically make him go crazy or make sure his health deteriorates. I would go crazy if I was kept in a building for years and years and years. Small confines, you get no natural light, You don't have to agree or disagree with WikiLeaks to think that's messed up. There are no criminal charges against Julian Assange. None. There's no criminal charges. I'm not commenting on his guilt or innocence because I don't know. I believe the women also backtracked on the accusation. I'm not positive, but that's what I believe. But there's no charges against him. Yet he's holed up in an embassy. And the corporate media, Eric Holder, say Julian Assange should be, WikiLeaks is not a real entity. And they should be brought to justice. Well, you basically brought this on yourself, Assange is saying, because you left me here to do nothing but work 24/7. I can't go out. I can't meet with friends. I can't date, whatever. It's devoted to a bail issue in the UK. Thank you, Harlan. So I thought that was very interesting, and I think Assange is right. He is damn good at what he does. The people around him are damn good at what he does. And he's basically calling out Eric Holder on nonsense. On absolute nonsense. But there's another thing with Assange. So this morning, the Washington Post reported that, I love this because it's always an unnamed source. All our reporting, all our truth is always an unnamed official. And you know, sometimes in journalism, some of the best stories in American history were unnamed officials. I'm not saying unnamed sourcing or not on the record reporting is bad in all cases, but pretty much 95% of the Russia investigation reporting or the hacking or all this stuff has been through unnamed officials, which let me name them for you. CIA officials. And we all know the Washington Post is in business with the CIA. The Washington Post, did you know that Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, has like a $600 million contract with the CIA? I think something to do with Kindles, I believe. Jimmy Dore has done a lot on this. So the Washington Post owner has a $600 million contract with the CIA. And what do you know? The Washington Post has a lot of stories from unnamed officials, which are coming from the CIA. And as we know, the CIA has lied in all of American history. That's all they do. They're liars. They've made stuff up. If you watch Untold History of the United States by Oliver Stone, the CIA has literally created demonstrations out of thin air, like got together rebels and faked like uprisings in countries that they wanted to topple democratically elected leaders. The CIA has forged photos and shown them to leaders. So, Washington Post reports that a confidant of Roger Stone said that Roger Stone told the confidant that he and Julian Assange spoke on the phone in the spring of 2016, well before the DNC emails and the Podesta emails were released. An unnamed source told the Washington Post that Stone had a phone conversation with Assange in the spring of 2016. Ahead of any public knowledge about Democratic email leaks, Stone told the source he had learned WikiLeaks had obtained emails from the Democratic National Committee and Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta. During the campaign, Stone said in interviews and speeches that he was in touch with WikiLeaks, and he posted tweets in October 2016 that seemingly predicted the Podesta leaks. The Washington Post report suggests that in addition to these public statements, Stone was even more candid in private conversations about ties to WikiLeaks. So, Roger Stone is denying this report. I don't know. How can you verify it? How can you verify that this did happen or that it didn't happen? There's no way of knowing. All we know is that the Washington Post, who basically is in business with the CIA, is reporting that an unnamed confidant said that Roger Stone and Julian Assange spoke on the phone in the spring of 2016, well before these emails were released. I have no idea. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's not true. If it is true, what do they speak about? But one thing I do know is true. So the Atlantic.com reported, I think a few weeks ago, this bombshell that they had obtained private direct messages on Twitter between Roger Stone and WikiLeaks. And most people know that most of WikiLeaks' tweets and private messages is actually Julian Assange himself runs the WikiLeaks account. So this was a bombshell report that they got these screenshots. So in the screenshot, I'm reading it to you. Roger Stone said to the WikiLeaks account privately, "Since I was all over national TV, cable, and print defending WikiLeaks and Assange against the claims that you are Russian agents and debunking the false charges of sexual assault as trumped up BS, You may want to re-examine the strategy of attacking me. Cordially, R, meaning Roger. WikiLeaks responded, we appreciate that. However, the false claims of association, meaning the false claims Roger Stone is making of association with WikiLeaks, are being used by the Democrats to undermine the impact of our publications. Don't go there if you don't want us to correct you. So this bombshell, oh my God, that CNN and all these people, reported was like some type of smoking gun, is basically Julian Assange or WikiLeaks, whoever was writing it, saying, stop falsely saying that you have a back channel to us, or we're working together. Again, I'm all for the investigation into Russia. If there's evidence found that Trump's campaign, working with the Russian government, hacked Podesta's emails, the DNC emails, then gave them to WikiLeaks, I do think that's a problem. I think it's scandalous. And I do think Trump would be in big, big duty and might be impeached. And I do think that's a problem. I do think that's scandalous. I don't care if you like Hillary Clinton, you don't like Hillary Clinton. I think you know where I stand. If a campaign is working with a foreign government to hack the other campaign and then get it out there through WikiLeaks, I mean, that's borderline treasonous. But there is no evidence of that. I'm sorry that I don't just regurgitate what unnamed CIA officials tell me, although unnamed officials from the CIA or named officials tend not to talk to people like me, if I'm keeping it real. So, honestly, I think this is much to do about nothing. That, the Washington Post, citing an unnamed confidant, says Roger Stone and Assange talked in the spring of 2016 before any emails were released. Well, till I know who that unnamed confidant is or what proof do they have? Do they have phone recordings? Do they have phone records? None of that's in the story. Like, as journalists, you don't just regurgitate what unnamed people tell you. And if they're providing you evidence, then you need to tell your audience and show your audience what is that evidence. That's what I've said. That's what Glenn Greenwald has said. That's what Jimmy Dore has said. Trust me, I'm in my parents' kitchen. Do you really think I'm a Kremlin puppet? Because if I was a Kremlin puppet, I'm not doing it right. Unreal. It's unbelievable.